Hello everyone, this is Angela, and for those of you who are not aware, I live a traditional Kemetic lifestyle, which means that I meditate and consult oracles for the sake of maintaining an ongoing state of peace, even in the midst of challenges. A couple of disclaimers before I proceed. First, I do not proselytize. This is not a channel inviting anyone to live the same lifestyle that I do. Please live your life as you wish. All I am offering is insight from a Kemetic perspective. Secondly, there will be some sensitive topics that are covered today, and if it is too much for you to bear, then you are welcome to leave in peace. For those of you who are still here, thank you. I decided to do an oracle reading on a particular statement in Dr. Umar Johnson's reaction video to the article by Ralph Richard Banks, Why More Black Women Should Consider Marrying White Men. In his video, Dr. Umar Johnson made two interesting and repetitive statements to black women. The first one was, quote, "Black women, don't you dare let a Neanderthal or a demon or a devil crawl up into your heaven or your man cave or your woman cave and spray his ancestors all inside." Here is a clip of him making that statement.
Ladies, don't do it. Ladies, don't do it. Black women, don't you dare. Don't you dare let a Neanderthal crawl up in your heaven and spray his ancestors all inside of your woman cave. I said, black woman, don't you dare let a demon crawl up in your heaven and spray his ancestors all inside your man cave. I said, black woman, don't you dare let a demon crawl up inside of your heaven and spray his ancestors. Lord have mercy. Ancestors, speak to me now.
It gives me the creeps hearing it. When I first heard that statement, I got goosebumps. It seemed weird, and it was low-key nauseating to listen to him make that statement repetitively. My goodness. So additionally, Umar stated that black women would, quote, would suffer a severe and significant karmic debt, end quote, by considering interracial marriage, particularly with white men. Let's watch the clip here.
You would have to suffer a severe and significant karmic debt. Black woman, I believe you would have to suffer a severe and significant karmic debt if you allows your womb, the same womb that God gave you to birth African boys and African girls, the same womb that God gave you to birth African civilization, the same womb that God gave you to birth African culture, the same womb that God gave you to birth and rebirth the original man and woman. If the black woman allows the white man to take her womb that God gave her to birth original man and original woman, and you give that to your oppressor.
I have already done oracle readings several months ago on the characters of individuals who have a significant number of African American followers, such as Umar. So I already know what's going on with them from a spiritual perspective. With Umar in particular, I not only asked about his character in general, like who is he, what is he about, I also asked of his intentions towards the black community. I asked about the school and the funds for the school. I did this several months ago. Now, readings can reveal very private information about a person or a situation, so I will reserve the sensitive details regarding what the readings reveal about Umar as a person. However, what I can offer is that he is being sincere with his intentions. This means that deep in his heart, according to the oracles, he feels that he is doing the right thing. Deep down in his heart, he is sincerely planning for the school and other community-based initiatives. And he actually believes that they will work. He actually believes in his methods. This is part of the issue with him. His approach is not working. It is not generating the success that he had planned for. And truth be told, it will never work. Unfortunately for him, it will not be until reality presents itself in the most harsh form that he will finally accept it. That is because he lacks the capacity to understand the universal truth about feminine nature. Feminine nature will always be attracted to one who provides, protects, and produces. Feminine nature will always favor a place that is filled with resources where she can safely nest and nurture her young. So, moving along. I decided to do an I-Ching reading on the validity of his statement about Black women paying a significant and severe karmic debt because I was concerned about its truth. Is it true that we African American women will pay karma for intermarrying with men of other groups? I was concerned about the impact that this statement would have on the psyche of the significant number of Black women in particular who listen to his advice. So, upon consulting the oracle, I consulted the I-Ching oracle. The response that was provided from the initial hexagram revealed by I-Ching was the 16th hexagram. This hexagram is titled like the weaving of images. The meaning of this hexagram involves one who is very enthusiastic. They view life through rose-tinted glasses. However, this person's rose-tinted viewpoints are at risk of not being rooted in reality. It's like a child whose imagination takes off into a fantasy and they begin to weave images or imagine how things could be and should be. Imagine a child who is riding on the back of a wooden horse and they're saying, "Giddy up, horsey," while pretending to be a cowboy in the wild, wild west. You see, in the child's mind, in their imagination, they truly believe that the wooden horse has transformed into an actual horse. However, the reality is that they are on a wooden horse. The wooden horse is a toy and will never transform into a living and breathing horse. The child does not know how to properly ride a living and breathing horse unless or until his parents enroll him into classes to learn how to horse ride. The toy horse is safe for child's play. However, an actual horse, and here's where the reality comes into play, an actual horse has the potential to be dangerous even to a fully skilled adult rider, let alone a child. Umar's ambitions on the school and his assistance of the Black community is similar to the enthusiasm that a child has while playing make-believe. There is nothing wrong with childlike enthusiasm in a child, or to some extent, even within an adult, to a small extent. Most professionals, such as medical doctors, probably pretended to be doctors while using the family pets or using their dolls or using, their toys as patients when they were children. Enthusiasm can be useful when it's paired with reality. However, when reality is missing, problems can occur. Okay, so hexagram 16 had 2 broken lines. The first and the 5th lines were broken on the hexagram. The first line on hexagram number 16 is broken, and it represents someone who needs to humble themselves. Boastfulness is an element here, and as important as his plans are to him, to Umar, it is meaningless to others, the others being black women. It also points out to a loss of purpose. Black women divesting away from the black community is a form of the harsh reality that is presenting itself to Umar. Also, with this occurrence, it begs the question, whose children will be at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy? Black women are moving away from the black community due to their higher incomes and also through exogamy. Exogamy is a term that is used to describe whenever someone marries a person outside of their own culture. Naturally, wherever she goes, her children are going to go with her. The economic opportunities that occur when she is present are also leaving with her too, and this is a shock to him. Can you imagine being in the middle of a watershed moment and you don't realize it until it's too late? That is what Umar is facing right now. Okay, this type of shock and loss of purpose that Umar is experiencing is parallel and similar to what Emperor Puyi, that's P like Paul, U-Y-I, Emperor Puyi, who was the last emperor of the Qing dynasty in China. This is what he experienced before China became a communist state. Let's dive into a little bit of history here. Emperor Puyi was born privileged into a society that worshipped its leaders as gods for literally thousands of years before his birth. So to Puyi, similar to Umar, this type of treatment was normal and how things were supposed to be. To Puyi, who literally had servants that would blow their breath into his soup to cool it enough for him before he ate. Okay, it was inconceivable that the lowly people in the masses would want to live a better existence or even dare rise against him or his leadership. When Puyi was born, he had women lining up to become his wife. He had concubines. He had eunuchs. He had full domain. However, at the dawn of the 20th century, when inventions such as the automobile, cinema, telephones, when these things were created, okay, and these items came from a country, the United States, where individuality, the wants and desires of the individual are considered tantamount as opposed to the wants and needs of a group or deferring to a leadership, the inevitable occurred. And Emperor Puyi lived to see it all crumble. He lived to see universal truths unfold. He lived to see that the masses were not just a glob of mindless people who were born to sacrifice according to the ideologies of the Qing dynasty. Puyi realized in the harshest way that each individual is a human being with dreams and aspirations, and that their humanity will outweigh any loyalty to the Qing dynasty. He realized the truth. No woman wants to be a concubine. No wife wants to share her husband with other women. No eunuch desires to have his manhood severed in exchange for better food and clothes, that people will fight until the end before they return to what Puyi understood to be normal. For Puyi, it was a watershed moment back then. Now going back to Dr. Umar Johnson. Okay, Dr. Umar Johnson is similar to Emperor Puyi in this way. Dr. Umar Johnson genuinely has no concept of black women being guided by their femininity, because when Umar was born, it was normal for black women as a collective to be sacrificial in their relationships. It was not normal for black women to experience joy and abundance from a feminine perspective. She always had to suppress her feminine nature and struggle in order for others to feel comfortable with her. She had to forego self-care in favor of buying diapers and school clothes. She had to forego health exams because the deductible can purchase her children's shoes and their Christmas presents. Working 2 jobs to make ends meet while being a single mother for a black woman is normal to Umar. The black woman going to beg for food stamps and shelter is normal to him. Dr. Umar Johnson, as well as others like him, never conceived that the day would come when the sacrifices will stop and black women will operate according to their inherent feminine nature. To Dr. Umar Johnson, the imbalanced femininity of black women, where they are a hybrid of nurturers who also double as providers, protectors, and producers that share their husbands with other women while themselves being monogamous, is natural. He did not conceive of the day that black women will shrug their shoulders, turn her head full of locks away, and blow the polish dry on her fingernails while embracing being provided for, being protected, and being produced for by other groups of men. He does not understand inherent human nature, and especially the feminine nature. Moving along to the next broken line in hexagram number 16, which is the 5th line. The 5th line is also stressed, which is signifying a blockage to enthusiasm. This is the what's happening here? Okay? This is the, imagine holding a water hose and then, you bend the water hose as water is flowing out and you put a kink in the line, right? So what happens? The pressure builds up in the water hose line. And if you let go, the water will flow out of the hose again, but at a higher speed and a stronger space. But think about it. The hose is kinked, okay? The water is still in the line and under pressure. Now imagine that the resource is also shutting off. Someone is at the tap turning off the water. So you got this water hose, you kink the line, and also the tap is being turned off where the source of the water is coming from, okay? The pressure to open the academy and get students enrolled so that the funds can pay for the programs, pay for the building, pay for community initiatives, etc., as well as cement prestige on his name, is about to build up to the point of bursting in the hose. That line is kinked. Now, let's go a step further. Imagine that the hands controlling the tap, which the hose of his ambitions are attached to, the hand that's turning off that tap belongs to black mothers. You see, black mothers are the primary custodial parents, as well as the most employed within the community. If they, or rather when they move on, then his aspirations will not come into fruition. It's shocking to him. And he is not prepared for this situation. He didn't see it coming. And he was blinded by his unrealistic enthusiasm for the academy, as well as other community initiatives. What he sees right now is as good as it's going to get, and it's building up a lot of pressure on him. The pressure that he is under and the shock that he is enduring is the reason that he's attempting to lead the collective of Black women away from divestment and back into the Black community. Remember, he is sincerely thinking of himself as a person who is in a leadership position. He feels that he has an authority. So he is feeling that he can use his influence to quote end quote, correct Black women. So when Black women are shrugging him off and not viewing him the same way that he views himself, it is a shock to him. Imagine how it felt for Emperor Puyi in China when people stopped kowtowing to him. Umar is feeling the same way, and this is the reason for his reaction. Forewarning of a severe karmic debt. Moving along, hexagram number 16 with lines 1 and 5 stressed yields another hexagram number 17. This hexagram is known as the following. It's the following. That's the title of the hexagram, like you're following someone. And it gives instructions on leadership. This is the universe advising Umar, on what he should actually do. It is advising Umar that what he is doing currently is not the appropriate manner in which to lead. It gives instructions on what is appropriate in true leadership. I know that it's called the following. However, there's an old adage that goes that in order to properly lead, one needs to learn how to properly follow. As it pertains to Umar, it is an instruction to lead with joy and humility. Be humble. Don't lead with threats and shouting and with an agenda. Be humble. So overall, the oracle does not indicate that there will be a severe and significant karmic debt to be paid by Black women who marry and have children with white men. Nor does it reveal anything about Black women laying with demons, devils, and, Neanderthals went extinct, so that won't be happening either. So, according to the oracle, what Umar can do to restore peace into his life is, instead of putting the pressure and the onus of Black women to comply with the unrealistic expectations of the community that they are divesting from, he instead can become creative and find another type of economic opportunity. So long as a person is breathing, there is an opportunity. His heart is sincere, although not necessarily in the right place, but there is sincerity. However, his approach as far as opening a school and his other plans for the Black community has been inaccurate, and its flaws are beginning to show that much more. Umar tends to react to stress by putting on rose-tinted glasses as he buries his head in the sand while inviting others to bury their heads with him. It is akin to thinking that if enough people bury their heads in the sand and cry, then a river will form. You see, this is out of touch with reality, and he does not see this. The goal of consulting with oracles is to restore peace. And so if he wants to find peace and tranquility while helping others, he needs to be more realistic. Okay, so that was the end of the I-Ching oracle readings regarding the karmic debt of Black women according to Umar. So here is my personal commentary regarding the spraying of ancestors. Oh my goodness. oh my goodness. Okay, I know that it is shocking to Umar because all of his life he has seen Black women fight to maintain their femininity in a space that has been toxic and abusive. What I have to offer to Umar and his like-minded followers is that it's the truth. You see, when a house is on fire, its occupant is not picky about the color of the hose that puts the fire out. They only want to be rescued from the fire, and it is as simple as that. You see, the collective of Black men are not the only ones with hoses that are capable of putting out fires. Jorge has hoses. Brian has hoses. Chong Li, he has hoses too. So does Abdul, and the list goes on. There are fire hoses on every continent in this planet. Okay? Besides, black men have been spraying ancestors inside of foreign wombs for ages, so why don't they get any karmic debt, you know? But anyway, jokes aside, black women are women. Our feminine instincts are much stronger than your loud voice shouting us back into what you think is our place. No matter how big our afros are, how long our locks are, how rich the, hue of melanin in our complexions, the black woman is still a woman. And feminine instinct will always outweigh everything else. You see, we have feminine biochemical realities that drive us, which are no different than any other biological woman or most other feminine creatures on earth. Women need to be able to nest. We are attracted by men. It is the men who are attracting us. But we are also attracted to men who provide the nest, protect the nest, and produce resources to maintain the nest. Once the nest is made available, the feminine instinct of women feels safe and able to attend to their offspring. When a woman's feminine instinct feels safe, secure, validated, cherished, and so on, she goes willingly and freely into reproductive mode. The demands of femininity are the same no matter our social status, no matter our skin tones, our hair types, our hair textures rather, our body types, rich or poor or famous or unknown. Our natural contribution to the planet costs the same. It is the same 9 months of pregnancy. It is the same loss of blood during labor, coupled with the risk of not surviving it. It is the same waking up every 2 hours to nurse babies, regardless of if we're rich housewives with nannies or poor and working single mothers. For every person walking around today, a woman nearly lost her life to birth each and every last one of them. Some mothers did not even survive the process. I have a great-great-grandmother in my own family line who died in childbirth. Okay? Beyond being mothers, the majority of our faces are at the bedsides of people recovering from illnesses or those who are preparing to take their last breath. We are the predominant faces quietly preserving the dignity of the severely disabled and cognitively challenged. Just to name a few of the things that we do. We are the ones that heal others by doing those little things which make them feel good, because feeling good within itself is a healing energy that can help with the recovery from illness. It can help with the soothing of pain. When femininity is not able to flourish, all else is lost. And right now, black women are being deleted within the black community at a rate of every 5.5 hours. 1 every 5.5 hours. It is a toxic environment for all feminine interest. When it is impossible for a woman to be herself as a fully actualized and feminine being in a safe environment, when it is impossible for a mother to fully nurture her young, and when it is impossible for a child to enjoy their childhood, then a biochemical reaction occurs within women, which activates our feminine instinct that tells us to stay away. Therefore, it is natural that feminine nature will lead me over to where I have the best chances to survive, thrive, and to nurture my offspring. That is where masculine men are building nests, providing protection, and producing resources. It is natural that my feminine instincts will lead me away from danger. If you want to attract the feminine, then you have to understand how the feminine behaves. Toxic environments, poverty, and crime will always drive the feminine away. Femininity has to feel safe, secure, and have a nest in order to thrive. And the last time I checked, the average cost of a nest is about $337,560. On that note, I will end this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the notifications bell. And please, please, please share. Peace to you all. Until next time.